welcome to another Miss Alley Cat DIY video. Today I'm super excited. We're going to make a lavender wreath today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got this wreath. It is a willow wreath from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pick out some lavender pieces and different florals that I want for my wreath. So I have some different florals here. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one apart and just grab what I want from it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab these like ferns, and I'm gonna cut some of my floral down, and once I've done that I will be right back.
So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just pulling this arrangement apart and cutting the individual like greenery and flowers so that they're fairly short using my wire cutters. And then as you can see, I have a couple different types of lavender and I'm just cutting them shorter like I said, and then I will go ahead and put all of my flowers and greenery in different little piles just so that they're all organized and it's easier to make our wreath.
Got like a little pile of different greenery for the wreath, and I've got some lavender here. That's what I'm going to start out with, and we're just going to go ahead and start this wreath. If we need to add more, we can go ahead and do that. But for now, let me go ahead and grab one more thing and let's do the next step. So I went ahead and sat aside the piles of greenery and lavender that we've got, and I also have this like garland of lavender and really pretty greenery. You can see it here. I bought this a while ago. Most, if not all, I think a couple things were from Dollar Tree, but most of it was from Michael's, like on clearance or from grab bags a little while ago. So yeah, so now what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I've got my glue gun heating just in case I need it, but I've also got some wire. This is from Dollar Tree. I would suggest using green wire. I think there's wire specifically for wreaths, but this is pretty thin and it's what I have on hand, so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and use it. So now I'm taking this garland with this longer piece on the end, and I'm going to use that to stick it into this wreath. This is a willow wreath, and it is from the Dollar Tree. It's like the medium-sized one that they have, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick it under there. For the time being, I'm just measuring it right now to see how much I need, because we will be putting it around this wreath. And I'm going to use my wire cutters and just cut it off right about there. Yeah. And I'm going to discard this. We may use these little pieces of greenery, we may not, but I'll put it to the side.
Just a little side note. Stringing the garland in the way I just showed you will leave you with this little place to hang your wreath in the.
So I'm going to take the end of this garland and I'm just going to stick it into the willow wreath, trying to make it sort of tight so that all of the garland is going around the wreath, forming to it, and so that we don't have to attach it too much more elsewhere, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think that's good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and apply some hot glue. Just kind of hold it down so that it dries there and sticks.
So the next thing I did was I went around the whole entire wreath about 3 or 4 times and just hot glued down this garland to the wreath. Just held it down until the glue through. The glue dried. And then I also went around the whole thing about 3 or 4 times and used that wire from the Dollar Tree that I mentioned earlier and put it through the wreath and just tied down some of the greenery, well, the garland, and then just snipped off the excess pieces of that wire so I didn't have like wire sticking up like you can see in the video right now. Yeah, like I said, I did that all the way around my wreath, around 3 or 4 times, just to secure the whole garland to the wreath.
So now I've got 3 different bunches of these 2 different types of lavender, and I want to go ahead, I've put them together like this 3 times, and I want to go ahead and kind of start putting them on my wreath. I'm trying to do it as evenly as possible. I wish I had one more bunch of them, but I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and start right here, and I'm actually going to trim some of this off.
So to begin with, I did take these lavender bunches that I had and cut them fairly short, and then I'm taking the bunch and sticking it into the wreath. And for some reason I didn't show this next part, but I did kind of, because they are wire, wrap it around the other side of the wreath to secure it. You can also hot glue it, which I did end up doing later on. And I just continued that process with all of my bunches of lavender all the way around my wreath. And then I had some leaves like these that I'm showing you. I believe these were from the Dollar Tree lavender bunches that I bought. But anyway, they are the ones that I'm showing you in the video, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm trimming them fairly short, and then I'm just going to go ahead and stick them into the wreath. Like I said, you can hot glue it. For these, I did kind of take the wire and wrap it around my wreath to secure it. After I put it into the wreath is when I wrapped it around the other side. Because it's wire, I was able to do that, just stick it in there and wrap it around. These, however, this is some boxwood, like a little square of it, that I got from Michael's a year or 2 ago, a while ago. But anyway, this is just plastic, so I did have to put a little bit of glue on the end of these little sprigs, and then stick it into the wreath. So you see my hand going off the camera. That is because I'm putting a little bit of hot glue on there and then sticking it in there as fast as possible and kind of like bunching that little sprig up and sticking it in there with hot glue on the end of it. Here's an up close picture of me doing it. The boxwood also had little sprigs of like little white flowers, so I also tried to put a little sprig of that in there as well, all the way around my wreath. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking different pieces of greenery and basically filling up the wreath wherever I think it's a little bare. This is from the garland that we started out with, and I'm just gluing it wherever, like I said, I think it's a little bare. And I've also got some different little unique pieces of greenery that I stuck all the way around, including some ferns. I had 4 sprigs or 4 picks of these ferns, and I'm just putting all 4 of them all the way around my wreath. And you may have to like play with it so they're not just sticking out there, and if you want to like glue them down a little bit more, you can. And these happen to be wire, so I was able to stick them into the wreath and then turn it around and wrap it around the wood wreath as well.
I'm going to do some of these little flowers. I'm not entirely sure what they are, but it's hard to tell on your screen, I'm sure, but they have some pink on them and they're just really pretty.
So yeah, I had these flowers as well. I think they are really pretty, and I did the same thing, trimmed them shorter. These ones had these darker leaves, which I liked the idea of something a little different texture in there, and so I did push those green leaves up to the top of the flowers, and same process, glue them in and wrap the wire around if needed. Feel free to add as much greenery and as many flowers as you want to your wreath. The sky is the limit. Get creative with it. That's all I'm doing in this video right now on your screen. I'm just adding some more greenery again, and yeah, just enjoy the process and have fun making a wreath. So we've reached the end of this DIY. I had so much fun getting back to what I started doing, which is making DIYs. I hope to do more in the future, and if you liked this one, please feel free to pounce on that like button and hit subscribe. And if you'd like to see even more DIYs and hauls and plan with me's and all kinds of stuff, feel free to click on that notification bell so you can be notified the very next time I upload a new video. With that being said, this is Miss Alley Cat DIY signing off. Until next time, bye-bye!